Welcome to Germany versus USA. Today we're going to talk about East versus West. A banana?
Yeah. Alex and I were talking about one of our trips to Berlin, and I brought up an interesting point about, I feel like, and this could be an awful assumption, but I feel like a lot of people forget that Berlin was in just the heart of Eastern Germany. Mm-hmm. Even though it was split, into East and West Berlin.
Right.
It was in the middle of East Germany.
Right.
And I feel like that's sometimes that gets forgotten.
Right. Well, there was the infamous airlift, the, what's it called, Luftbrücke, to Berlin, because basically it was cut off from West Germany. But let's take a, broader approach here. So Germany was divided in... After World War II, 1945, Germany was divided into four sections, basically, into the American, the British, the French, and the Soviet Union sector, I guess.
We just didn't want the French to feel left out.
Right. So they became part of it. And so Germany was occupied for a couple of years after 1945 from these four, groups. And then Berlin was always kind of a mixed thing. Berlin was also divided into four sections. British, American, Soviet Union, and French part. But then the British and American sector became one, and then eventually the British, American, and French sector became one sector, and the Soviet Union was the other sector within Berlin. And that was basically at a certain point, Berlin got divided into two parts, basically. Just as Germany altogether got divided into two parts, in East Germany, West Germany, East Berlin, West Berlin. And so that has been going on until, 1989, 1990. Then when the wall fell in 89 and then in 90 we were officially reunified. And it's such an important part of German history, and it's still so present today, where if you think about East Germans, West Germans, and the kind of stereotypes that come with that, and it's very interesting when you are out of the country, and in the US, if you tell them you're from Germany, they will sometimes not have a great idea of German geography, which I guess is normal, and they will often ask you away from East or West Germany. And what are your, if you think of life in East Germany, what is something what comes to mind first? What are your...
Lack of bananas comes to my mind first.
But of having lived in East Germany.
Well, I would say because the Cold War was such a big part of our history. And
they didn't have lemonade either, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Cold War, part of the history, sorry?
Yeah, no, the Cold War was a huge part of the American history, and then you have basically Germany right in the middle of everything that's going on, because you have the East and West, and then you have the Soviets, and so really our viewpoint of East Germany for the most part was, people are ecstatic once that wall came down because of the conditions and everything that was going on, that their lifestyle couldn't have been as good or, acceptable.
Enjoyable, right?
Enjoyable. And that is a stereotype.
I got mad at Jim once because we were talking about living in East Germany, and basically Jim had the idea that having lived in East Germany, life must have been insufferable, or that must have been terrible, right?
Yeah, granted, they did lose over 20% of their population trying to leave the East, so it wasn't all just I randomly thought that.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that is a good point, but it was not and I would like to have some East Germans comment on that, how they feel their life was. Most of our viewers, I guess, will not have lived, before 89, but the ones who do would be interesting to get some information.
Oh yeah, because being American, we never really hear much about East Germany besides, they were part of the Soviets, and then the wall came and they got to go back to the West. It's viewed more as they got to go back to the West,
right? Instead
of Germany became unified.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I think both sides were super, super excited in 1989 when they got reunified. If you look at the pictures of people celebrating on the wall in Berlin, and if you look at videos, how excited people are, they're just crying, families reunified. That was an awesome moment.
If it hadn't been for Hasselhoff.
Yeah, well, thanks, David, again. But that kind of leads to a different point about how Ossis, East Germans, and Wessis, West Germans, perceive one another today. Because there's still a bunch of stereotypes about East and West Germans.
Yeah, and that correlates with kind of the northern and southern stereotypes in the United States. When I think of an East German, I think of someone who...
What do you think of their names?
Their names?
Yeah.
Like the Prussian names?
No, actually, the East Germans, that is a stereotype, that they give their kids funny names. Sometimes they call their kids like Mindy, Justin, Kevin.
Oh, I forgot
Rico.
about. I knew that.
That?
Yeah, I do know that about that. Yeah, that's.
And you will have West Germans call that, but
Well, West German, everyone's Hans, Gunther,
Fritz,
Hans,
Hermann, Fritz. But no, that's a stereotype about East Germans, that they have kind of funny names sometimes.
I completely forgotten about that. I think of East Germans as a little more gruff, like in the sense of where they're a little rough around the edges. And
Okay.
I'm just playing
like more direct a little bit?
A little more direct.
Yes, that's true.
Because of the Soviet influence, they're used to living with less. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And so the conditions of housing, everything is just not as nice. And these are, I'm just saying stereotypes just when it comes to my mind.
Right.
And also, I just think of them more as with kind of what we view like the Soviet influence.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, they learned Russian at school, East Germans.
Yeah, but being in East Germany and all the money that's being poured back into East Germany,
there's actually a tax that is being paid to rebuild East Germany. It's still being paid right now, more than 20 years after.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been to some really nice parts of East Germany. I mean,
where it goes.
yeah, like really nice roads, and I don't know. It's when you're talking to someone from East Germany versus a Western German. I just feel like you can kind of pick that up, just like you can in the United States.
Right.
You can pick up the
You
difference.
mean linguistically, or
Yeah, linguistically, and also just kind of. It's a little harder for me to have small talk with an Eastern German.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah. Yeah, and then also linguistically, that's not a stereotype, but East Germans, a lot of them, depending on which state they are from, Saxonia, or what is up there, like Brandenburg, they will have sometimes a very thick East German accent or Saxonian accent, and yet... You will see people making fun of that, actually, about that accent, and it's funny in my ear as well. It sounds funny.
Hey, I can relate, though. Yeah, I mean, being in the South, you get the same thing where people, other parts of the country will make fun of the Southern accent.
Right.
And so I can completely relate with that.
Hey, y'all. What you doing, Terry? I think East Germans regard West Germans as a little bit arrogant.
Snobby,
A little bit
Yes.
arrogant. Yes. And then West Germans think about East Germans as, let's see, they really like nudism, like really like taking their clothes off and going on beaches. The FKK movement was huge in East Germany.
but that was a political move, though, right? I mean, explain that a little bit, because I don't think Americans would know that.
One of my history teachers, I grew up in West Germany, one of my history teachers said, well, we can say whatever we want, but then we're just going to take off all our clothes. That's not like how we explain nudism from East Germany. That is not the explanation. I don't know the political background. I'm not sure.
Oh, maybe that was it. I just thought there was a little more with like the nudists, like kind of expressing their freedom. But you know what? They probably have fewer air conditioning than the West. I mean, there's
even fewer than the West.
Even fewer. And I mean, if I lived in East Germany, I'd probably just be naked all the time. My impression of East Germany, too, is you have more right wing, and it's a little... Conservative is not the word I'm looking for.
You will have more left wing and more right wing, actually. If you look at the very almost what used to be the Communism Party, they are more successful in East Germany. But then you also have, unfortunately, you have the NPD.
Right, the NPD is what I'm thinking of.
Which is they pretend not to be neo-Nazi party, and they are in 2 state parliaments in East Germany, and so yes, you will have a higher rate of people who will actually vote for the NPD, and also for the very leftist parties, I guess.
Okay, yeah, and that's pretty specific to East Germany, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I view it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't really sure, and this. I mean, I'm probably going to step on some people's toes here, but part of the things that you hear about East Germany and learned in school was part of the wall and everything that went on in Berlin was because of the brain drain, with basically people leaving the East, trying to escape to the West, and then it kind of left for like East Germany when it unified again to really pour money back into like the education and to get skilled labor and really build that part of the country up. And I'm not trying, because look, the South here, we have some of the same problems where you have a little more agriculture, you have more rural parts, and you have to focus a little more getting the education up. So I don't know if that's a fair assessment or not, but that is something that you hear about in school, that that they had to kind of send people back.
Of course they did. And if you look at the unemployment rate in East Germany, it's a lot higher than in West Germany. If you look at the salaries in East Germany, they're a lot lower than in West Germany. So, I mean, there are these facts that you just can't argue. There's still an economical difference for sure. And I mean, that's also one of the reasons why there's still the tax.
How long is that tax to go for? Do you know? Is there like a cutoff date?
I think there was a debate a couple of years ago whether to basically get rid of that tax. It's called the Solidaritätszuschlag, by the way. Solidarity, I guess, fee. But I don't think they will get rid of it anytime soon.
Yeah,
I think they said something like at least until 2020.
It's like a toll bridge. It never exactly goes away.
Right. And I mean, there's some. It's fine. I mean, I think that was the cost. If that is the cost of Germany being reunified, I think that's worth it.
And like I said, the parts of East Germany I've been into, I mean, like the infrastructure has been very nice, and so I don't have any complaints.
No kidding.
Yeah. Our advice on experiencing a little bit of East Germany, the best way to do it...
Use a time machine, go back to the year 1970.
Or go to Berlin, because Berlin is a wonderful place to kind of get the best of both worlds, where you can kind of see...
You can touch the wall, actually.
Yeah, I mean, they still have pieces of the wall. Actually, my sister has a piece of the wall. Yeah, but you can definitely experience both sides, and then you got like history, like you have a couple of museums.
There's the DDR museum.
Yeah, and then you got Checkpoint Charlie, and then also once you go into East Berlin, you can see a lot of the infrastructure and some cool little hangout spots.
Traffic lights, these tiny little differences that you will pick up on.
Yeah, so I think Berlin's a great place. Berlin's is great all over, but to experience the East a little bit.
Yeah, that's it. So leave a comment whether you're from East or West Germany. What are your prejudices about East or West Germany? That'd be kind of interesting. And
in Berlin.
In Berlin. And also from the north and south of the United States. I think that would also be interesting.
Yes, add those.
Okay.
Y'all take it easy.
Cheers.
Pack it up, son, bring it on home. Drag your feet and hang your head all you want.
Take it easy.
Cheers. Good.
I don't think there's a lot of cuts in that, actually. Oh, that's good. Ooh, never mind. I enjoyed the initial, then I got the cream. The cream followed. If I had known it was orange cream soda, I'd have been more prepared, but because I didn't, it was shocking. You know what's good with this? Vodka.
Oh, yeah, because you won't taste the vodka.
Yeah, you can put vodka in it, or that's pretty much it.
To me, I have never really tried anything like it. This is not like Fanta or anything. I was expecting to be...
No. It has cream soda and Fanta, so it's like a cream soda and Fanta combined. So I didn't read the label, and so when I took a sip, I just expected Fanta, and then...
I like it a lot. So also very healthy.
My dad likes cream soda.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I like cream soda as well. I never tried orange cream soda.
That's the first time I've had it as well.
I like the label. I'm stupid.